What's up, beautiful people? Today we're going to be checking out an interesting video that when I saw it caught my attention. This one is titled Denzel Washington shockingly warns black actors of winning Oscars. Not want like W-A-N-T, but W-A-R-N-S, warns them. And this is something a lot of people want to win. Well, let's check it out.
He said, I'm not going to tell you that, Denzel. He says, but I can tell you this. The first 2 or 3 or 4 films you do in this business will dictate how you're perceived.
That is happening. I was lucky enough to have people like my sister, like my family say, yo, you can't go out right now because you sound you talking crazy.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I was in so much pain that I really didn't want to face the world.
Don't just aspire to make a living. Aspire to make a difference.
To any newbie in the entertainment world trying to make a name for themselves, one of the best things that could happen to them is having their name on an Academy Awards. But now it appears the greats of the industry are saying that could be their worst nightmare. Well, not the award part exactly. It's more about the things they might be required to do in the process of getting that plaque. Now, these aren't just empty warnings from bitter people. Oh no, these claims are actually coming from the biggest stars in Hollywood. Allegedly, big names like Denzel Washington. According to them, all is not as it seems in the industry from the outside. These people, who have won all of the top awards and dined with the executives who make things happen in the industry, have supposedly revealed that touching the pinnacle of the entertainment industry has come at a cost that is almost equal to their lives. While all of this already sounds as bad as anyone should ever have it, it seems like it only gets worse because these people are almost incapable of getting their lives back. Apparently, the ones that do try are met with the worst fates. And now it appears all these people are beginning to tell their tales of the horrors they've seen in the industry. So if you thought you'd seen it all in Hollywood, think again.
So what is happening in Hollywood? Nobody knows. The worst thing to call somebody is crazy, is dismissive. I don't understand this person, so they're crazy.
From roles being imposed on actors, all the way to whole movements being engineered by the top dogs in the business, there's almost no end to the darkness that appears to exist behind the scenes in Hollywood. The only thing that seems to have changed now is the fact that these actors who have had to do this bidding are sick of it. Although many of these actors themselves have reaped all the benefits the elitist lifestyle has to offer, even that doesn't begin to make up for the price they have been made to pay since they started dealing with these executives. Over the years, we've seen several cases of celebrities coming out to talk about the things they've seen when the cameras aren't rolling, but they've almost always been tagged as crazy. Well, if we're being honest, it's not every day you get to find out that a handful of people might be controlling everything that happens in Hollywood, but that's starting to look exactly like the case. This time, it's not just
few having so much power.
One celebrity who's telling the story of how they may have walked into their own doom by kissing the rings of the people up high in the food chain. It's a whole horde of them, and it starts with Denzel Washington, credited on some of the biggest movies of all time, as well as having a shelf full of awards to solidify his acting prowess. If there's anyone who's seen it all and knows exactly what's happening in Hollywood, it's Denzel Washington. Washington's first move wasn't to expose the big names directly. Oh no. The actor started out by firing shots at his fellows in the industry for what he described as their delusional arrogance.
You know, people say, oh, the difficulty of making a movie. I'm like, send your son to Iraq. That's difficult. It's just a movie. It's like, relax.
The actor, famous for being brave and smart, openly talked about the decreasing viewership of major Hollywood award shows. He said that the shows focus too much on pushing their political opinions onto viewers. He said that we're in a new time when people are tired of the woke Hollywood elites who act like they're better than others. Washington himself said these people go on stage, congratulate themselves, and tell everyone else how to live. Meanwhile, they live in very expensive mansions. Ridiculous, isn't it? However, not all the most famous stars are affected by this problem. Take Denzel Washington, for example. He's a guy who knows what's important in life, and he's not exactly pleased about how some of his fellow entertainment industry people act, proving that this plague only affects some people. This is not to say the actor didn't deal with his own share of problems over the course of his career. Denzel, who has won an Oscar, doesn't just stop there. He doesn't believe that making movies is super hard. He even compared it to simpler jobs like being a garbage man or dealing with the challenges of war.
I like being a garbage man better. But they weren't bad jobs. It's like people say, oh, the difficulty of making a movie. I'm like, send your son to Iraq. That's difficult.
Just like how Denzel made it his business to call out his peers and their delusions, other celebrities have also called out some of the odd things they have also seen play out in the industry. One of these people is Katt Williams, and he chose a more direct approach to exposing his industry. The comedian recently doubled down on how his industry peer, Jamie Foxx, might have given up his dignity for an award, but that's only half of what he said about the actor. About a decade ago, when Katt Williams was doing a show in Los Angeles, he said something to the audience. He told them that Jamie Foxx might be gay. The comedian straight up said, "Who's gay? Jamie Foxx." He even gave a name, saying, "I can even tell you the name of the guy he messed around with. His name is Marcus Anthony. He's the only guy signed to Jamie Foxx's label."
I know all the comedians and actors' secrets. Who's gay? Jamie Foxx.
Then the comedian kept going and said a lot of negative things about Foxx. He used strong...
a lot of people say this guy is crazy. Sometimes with how he talks, it's almost difficult to separate real facts from speculations, because he's a comedian too, so it's difficult to know if he's being factual or just playing around.
Strong language and said, "Forget Jamie Foxx and the money he got from Django Unchained." He also said, "They gave me the script and I said, any guy who does this should die." And the next thing I knew, Jamie Foxx was getting ready for the movie.
His name is Marcus Anthony. He's the only dude signed to Jamie Foxx's label. Check it out.
Now the comedian is making more accusations about Foxx. He's saying that Foxx gave up something important to win an Oscar. Honestly, Foxx's journey to success has had many bad moments, and these made Katt think he really did give up something important. Foxx is a person with lots of talents. He started by doing funny skits, and then he became an actor who won an Oscar.
Ladies always know, girl, don't talk to her. See her how. They always know that, but see, I'm just want to, apologize. Come on, shake my hand.
However, it seems the situation might have been a little deeper than how Williams painted it out to be. According to reports, Foxx didn't initially take his Oscar nomination seriously because, just as you'd expect of a rookie in the industry, he believed there was no way he'd win it over the greats he was nominated with. But it turns out the decision makers of the industry had it all planned out since the beginning.
What happened was that I didn't have a clique. I didn't have a crew in LA, and everybody had a clique. The Wayans had a crew. It was like 9,000 of them.
When I was up for the Oscar, I didn't really think it was a big deal, Foxx explained. I thought there's no way I'm going to win that thing. I saw Oscar time as a reason to have fun. I was like, oh, I'm nominated? Let's celebrate with champagne and party. I remember having those photo-taking people following me for the first time. I went a bit crazy. At the Golden Globes, I had some champagne and I acted pretty silly on the red carpet. Looking back, I realized I wasn't respectful to the whole thing. Foxx talked about going to the show with a friend and being nominated for many awards that year. On the red carpet, he and his friend were shouting about how many awards they were up for that night in a way that seemed immature, he said. His publicist called him and scolded him for his behavior, saying, "What are you doing? Can't you see how embarrassing this is? You have a chance, but you need to act a certain way." It turns out that it might have just been a way for these elites to prepare him for what was to come, as Foxx seemed to have reached a major crossroads in his career where he was seemingly going to get inducted into the upper ranks.
And then I get a call, and on the other end of the phone says, "Hi, Jamie Foxx." So who's this? This is...
The first person to intervene and seemingly get Foxx on track for what the elites expected was one celebrated media mogul. The television personality called Foxx and told him personally that he was blowing it. She told me, "You really have a great chance to do something that is wonderful, and the character you played touched so many people, but not if you act like this," Foxx said.
Okay.
Was it Oprah that called him?
You want to meet who you're supposed to meet here? I said, yeah. He's right there. And it was Sidney Poitier.
The big boss in media seemingly had a plan. She asked Foxx to come to a party at Quincy Jones's house. Foxx said he got to meet a bunch of actors and actresses he admired when he was young. They all said good things about his work and congratulated him. But the boss lady brought Foxx to the party so he could meet one person especially, Sidney Poitier. Standing in a tuxedo in the corner was Sidney Poitier, Foxx said. "I walked up to him and he said, 'I watched your performance and I grew 2 inches. I leave you with one thing, responsibility.'" From that point on, Jamie continued to land all the major awards and became significantly more successful. The moment he started to have a change of heart, he became the subject of a investigation. And when he managed to scale through that, he landed in the hospital. Tells you that there's almost no one these monsters can't get to. And just like in Foxx's case, these industry elites also tried to ruin a couple of other actors who wanted to turn their backs on them. And one of those was Cuba Gooding. Gooding's story is a bit different from what we're used to seeing with famous people.
What happened to him?
The big shots in Hollywood not only made him lose popularity, but also messed up his life beyond the glamorous world. But it's not just them. He also had a part in his own downfall. Around the late 1990s and early 2000s, Cuba Gooding was a big deal in Hollywood. He got attention from being on TV shows like Hill Street Blues and MacGyver. Then he landed a major movie role in John Singleton's first movie, Boys and the Hood, which became really famous. After that, his career got even better. He acted in other good movies like Rob Reiner's version of Aaron Sorkin's A Few Good Men and the thriller Outbreak. But let's focus on the elephant in the room. One main reason Cuba Gooding Jr. isn't getting roles anymore is because many women say he did some bad things. But here's the deal. Although Gooding himself also did some not-so-great stuff, people are saying that part of the reason he's in this situation is that he was planning to expose some secrets about people in Hollywood. But in Gooding's case, it got him into a lot of trouble.
It was horrifying because your words are not your words, they're someone else's, and then that becomes the headline, whether it's true or not.
It all began in June 2019 when USA Today said that they were looking into Gooding for touching a woman inappropriately at a bar in New York City while he was drunk. After that, Gooding went to the police himself and got arrested. You might say this was when things started to go badly for the actor. He was on a good path, but suddenly it all turned around. And things got even worse later that year when something even more terrible happened. Back when this was in the news, people were talking about it a lot. They were saying that the reason things were going so wrong for Gooding was because he might have been about to reveal some horrible stuff happening in Hollywood.
What was he about to reveal?
But how would he even know about that? Here's the deal. Even though Gooding lost everything eventually, he was doing pretty well before all this happened.
I mean, you must have felt like you'd lost everything, right?
Yeah, well, it's more than that.
Besides acting in several successful movies that made a lot of money, Gooding also won an Oscar. Getting that award meant he could ask for a lot more money for his roles, and he could also choose whichever movies he wanted to be in. He became one of the top people in Hollywood, and he enjoyed that success. So it adds up that being part of the most special group in Hollywood gave him access to lots of people and let him see things that happened behind the scenes. It seems like he might have found out more than he could handle. While he wanted to shine a light on what was happening in the industry, the powerful people seemed to have stopped him in his tracks. But it's possible that Gooding also made some bad choices that helped the important folks cancel him.
It's just one of those aspects of being someone in the spotlight. You can't stand on stage with an award over your head and accept that, but not accept this.
It seems he wanted to expose them because they pretty much ruined his career. Gooding himself talked about it and thinks the industry was trying to hurt him. He says that some white actors who did worse things than him got away with it and are still doing well. He also said the only reason his situation was different was because he didn't let them control him. After a bit, another woman accused Gooding, and then Page 6 said 3 more women came forward saying he did some horrible things. Coincidence? Seems unlikely, and I say that because just like Gooding, other celebrities who have been involved in awards one way or the other have also felt the burn of the elites, one of which is the legendary Monique.
No to some very powerful people. I said no to Oprah Winfrey, I said no to Tyler Perry, I said no to Lee Daniels, and I said no to Lionsgate.
A while back, when Monique appeared on an episode of Steve, the Oscar winner recalled an incident that had her labeled as difficult and eventually
So this is looking like a pattern from black people. Does this happen to white actors too? Like, is there any like pattern also reflected on the, maybe not just whites, but other races, or is it just in the black community?
Bald in Hollywood because she demanded additional pay for participating in the Oscar publicity campaign for the 2009 film Precious.
Now, if anybody else wants me to do anything else, there's a price to that because what we're not in is slavery. So what I cannot do is work for y'all for free. So Tyler Perry says, well, I think outside the box.
The movie Precious, which is based on a true story, came out in 2009. In the movie, Monique played the main character's mom, Mary Lee Johnston, who was not nice. Even though the comedian won both a Golden Globe and an Academy Award for her acting in the movie the next year, there were problems while making Precious with producers O** Ra Winfrey, Lee Daniels, and Tyler Perry. Before award season, they wanted Monique to go to the Cannes Film Festival in France to talk about the movie, but they didn't want to pay her to go there, even though it wasn't part of her original deal. That's why she said no.
When it came time to go to different festivals and promote this movie, but you're really campaigning for the award.
I said, O** Ra, I'm doing a talk show. I'm doing a comedy tour. I have a husband and I have babies. I have a little bit of downtime and I'm going to take advantage of it. So I'm not going anywhere because I'm not obligated to go anywhere. I've done my part, Monique recalled. So we mutually agreed to disagree. That was it. Next thing I know, I am considered difficult and hard to work with.
And you not scared of those white boys. Why are you trying to tell me to do something that I'm not contractually obligated to do?
To teach Mo a lesson about following their rules, these elites cast a shadow over her in the industry, and it was so bad that she couldn't land jobs for a long time. And when she was eventually able to land a job, she was paid a ridiculous amount compared to all the other stars of the show. That's right. While she sued and called for a boycott, she was ultimately backed into a wall. She's still fighting to escape, but at least she escaped with her life. Some celebrities didn't exactly have that luxury in their own case. That seems to be the story of legendary singer Whitney Houston, who pivoted into the film industry and seemingly paid the ultimate price. Most people know Whitney Houston as one of the greatest singers of all time, but what you may not know is that she also starred in a movie. In 1992, Whitney Houston and Kevin Costner starred opposite each other in the year's biggest romantic drama, The Bodyguard. The film was a huge box office success, with its power ballad-full soundtrack from Whitney selling millions of copies around the world, including her cover of I Will Always Love You. Besides the success in sales, Houston's performance also landed her an Academy Award nomination, and it seems it was that moment her entire life became a different story.
She was found hanging out. Several media people spotted her at the bar getting hammered.
Houston was seen skipping around a ballroom and doing handstands near the hotel pool.
Following the award nomination, Whitney's career gained new heights, and although she did a lot of press for her nomination, she didn't win the award. However, it seems that the singer might have been required by the elites to do certain things she wasn't comfortable with because the years following her loss of the award were seeming...
Who are these elites? Call the names. I'm tired of hearing elites. Is it Oprah? I think they've mentioned Oprah a few times here, but who is the elites? Like, call the names.
The darkest times in her life. According to the surrounding people, she started to act strange, getting drunk at her hotel and doing handstands. They also reported that she took it up a notch later down the line as the singer seemingly also had drugs delivered to her at the hotel. While it was later reported after her death that she had drowned, a Los Angeles private investigator revealed that her death had a lot more complications to it, mentioning that it was more of a murder than an accident. Just like disaster seemingly struck Whitney after she had a run-in with the awards, another person who might have suffered a similar fate is Morgan Freeman. Freeman's career started on the New York stage in the musical theater when he took over the role of Rudy the maitre d' of the restaurant, where the famous title number is performed. The actor also won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor for this boxing movie about a young woman who desperately wants to succeed in the sport. The actor played one of the first people to believe in the woman. The movie also won Best Picture, Director, and Actress for Hilary Swank. But just like the others, it seems the actor might not have fulfilled the industry obligations that won him the award, and that was right when his own disaster struck.
8 women are accusing actor Morgan Freeman of inappropriate behavior and harassment. The women allege they were subject to unwanted touching and comments.
A couple of years following his award...
Like, what is happening? Are they really doing all these things? It's like, this is what they are mostly accused of, most actors. Even recently, Danny Matthews is accused of that too. Now, I'm not saying this is true or false, I don't know. But like a lot of pattern from, this false touching and harassment and all of those things, we're seeing more and more.
Freeman got caught up in allegations of inappropriate behavior involving someone he was related to. Reports stated that before she was murdered, Morgan Freeman's step-granddaughter told her boyfriend-turned-killer that the actor had been secretly sleeping with her, confirming years-old claims about the illicit affair.
once Freeman's wife found out about the secret affair, she filed for divorce, and now the Inquirer is claiming that once proceedings go through, he and Hines are set to wed.
Edina Hines disclosed to Lamar Davenport and others that her grandfather engaged in a inappropriate relationship with her, lawyer Beth Unger claimed in court at the time. While Freeman could eventually scale through that, the dent remains on his public image till tomorrow, and there are claims it's all because he wasn't willing to dance to the tunes of the Movers and Shakers. Although it may appear like this pattern of celebrities having to rub the backs of the elites to get awards is something of recent times, the truth is that it spans all the way back, up until the early 90s. That was the case with actress and radio performer Hattie McDaniel, who became the first African-American to win an Oscar in 1940 for her supporting role as Mammy.
Oscar's been there since that long, 1940.
In Gone with the Wind. In her case, the fact that she was the first in her line of people to win the award didn't stop her from suffering the same fate as all the others who have come after her. McDaniel, like most black people at the time, felt the burn of racism. But to prove to her that her award came at a cost, it seems the elites made sure she had the worst of it, because on the very night she was named the first black person to win an Oscar was when she was hit. At the hotel where she was lodged, the 44-year-old McDaniel was prevented from sitting at the same table as the film's white cast members. Her historic award for Best Supporting Actress didn't open doors to better movie roles for black actors, including McDaniel herself. Instead of gaining new heights in success because of her Oscar, she said later, "It was as if I had done something wrong." Notice how every single one of these people on the list had one disaster or the other after winning or getting close to an Oscar. Tells you there's a pattern to this. This has led to people asking questions on the internet, like this user who wrote, "What is happening in Hollywood, OMG? What is really going on?" Let's hope we start getting answers as soon as possible, or it might only get worse for the next generation of stars. That's it for this video.
Okay, yeah. That was a very long and detailed, should I say, gossip? Should we believe it? I mean, the patterns are very, 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 what is the word? They look very true. I'm seeing a lot of patterns. I don't know if I've been manipulated or if I'm being gullible right now. But I see the patterns in that video. Let me know what you think about that. There's something about Hollywood. Like, I'm just going to put it like that. It's just something about Hollywood. We've seen lots of videos, even from Sound of Freedom, and it always feels like in all the context, there's just something missing or something not adding up. Who are these elites? Like, who are the people that have this much power? I always choose to be, should I say, skeptical about all these things, because I don't like to think a few people would have so much power. But in the world we live in, people choose to stay away, and that's how a few people get the knowledge and the power. Well, let me know what you think about that, and feel free to share your thoughts, and I'll see you on the next video. Smash the like button, subscribe, and have a wonderful day. Peace.
I made this bet on my own, bet on my own.